Hi, I'm Connie Fox with Freedom from Metals, and I am going to impart the last 3 of the 9 achievements or goals that one needs to accomplish to achieve a full recovery if you're mercury or heavy metal toxic. This is for the safe, effective removal of the metals so you don't go through unnecessary pain and suffering. And 2 earlier videos where I mentioned the first 3 achievements or 3 goals, the second 3 achievements or 3 goals, and now these are the last 3. And these achievements, like I just call them achievements, they're just goals. They're goals that we need to accomplish for the safe, effective removal of the metals. I mentioned that statement a lot, but that's the statement I live by and go by in my private practice working with the heavy metal toxic. That's so key because it really prevents you from going through unnecessary pain and suffering that I went through for over 6 years unnecessarily, and that unfortunately, many of my clients have been going through for usually years, just like I did, because they don't understand these 9 achievements, these 9 goals that we need to accomplish to prevent ourselves from major complications, to enable a smooth, effective, safe process with removing the metals. We need to accomplish these 9 goals to do that. The 7th achievement or 7th goal that we need to accomplish is we need to repair the cellular damage. We need to focus on repairing the cellular damage to a certain degree before we even think about detoxing the metals. Again, a more mildly toxic case, they can start their program detoxing the metals and usually do okay. But when we're more compromised because we're more toxic and we have a worse condition of the gut, we have worse pathogens, we have worse cellular damage, we have worse nutritional deficiencies, we typically have a hypothyroid condition and maybe even a more significant or severe one. All these things are going to not enable us to have a smooth, safe, unpainful, successful process with removing the metals. So yes, we need to repair the cellular damage to a certain degree. Now, when we have symptoms, and that's any symptom, it's always a result of cellular damage. And we get cellular damage from the metals, the pathogens, and the nutritional deficiencies. I mentioned before, a lot of people don't understand this, but when a cell doesn't get the nutrients it needs, it starts to break down and oxidize, and that's cellular damage. So if we want to start improving symptoms ASAP, which of course we do always, we need to repair the cellular damage. And that's done with nutrients. I did mention before in modern medicine, there's stem cells, of course, that repair cellular damage. But other than that, it's nutrients. I mean, there's living live raw enzymes in raw foods and nutrients. So it's from food or nutraceuticals, food-based supplements. And sometimes it can be synthetic as well for certain cases where that might work better, those forms. But we need nutrients, and that's what repairs and regenerates cellular damage. So we want to get the ideal nutrition that we need, particularly when we're mercury and heavy metal toxic. And that's really going to focus on repairing and regenerating the damaged cells and improving our symptoms more quickly. And of course, that's the first thing that all of my clients want. Understandably, we want to start feeling better. We want our symptoms to start improving and dissipating away. And we do that by getting the ideal nutrients, by getting more nutrients to the cells. So one, they can function more optimally, of course, but so they can repair and regenerate the cellular damage, because that's what's going to start improving symptoms. So that's achievement number 7. The 8th achievement or 8th goal is where we need to rid of pathogens. We need to eradicate the pathogens. And this is a big one here, very important. Klinghardt gave me a great example once. Just kind of funny, but it was a great example because I understood what he was saying. He said, if you have a toxic cesspool, microbes, bad microbes, just for those of you that don't know, that includes candida, overgrowth anyway, where we get an imbalance of candida overgrowth, bad bacteria, worms, parasites, viruses, mold, fungus, yeast, just all bad microbes or pathogens. So he has a saying, we're bugs, meaning bad bugs. Bugs love heavy metals. It's really their favorite environment, even more so than chemicals. And when we have a heavy metal toxic environment, we always develop the overgrowth of pathogens from one degree or another. And he told me once, and I really got it from this analogy he gave me, if you have a toxic cesspool, microbes are just going to grow. You're going to have bacteria and microbes start growing. And you could get some bug spray and spray in there and kill every single microbe in there successfully. But if you still have a toxic cesspool, guess what? The microbes are going to come back. So we never fully eradicate all the pathogens fully successfully, until we have detoxified the metals and we no longer have a metal toxic environment, our body. But we do want to significantly eradicate, definitely dramatically reduce. Of course, we'll kill a lot of the species of microbes in the process, but some might linger a little bit until we, really start making more progress, detoxing the metals. Eventually, we're not going to be metal toxic, and then we can fully resolve the overgrowth of pathogens completely. But when we have a bunch of pathogens in the body, one thing to point out is they're systemic. They're everywhere. They're in the brain. They're in the organs. Viruses love to harbor around joints. They can lead to inflammation or degradation of the joints and cause, injuries. They, of course, are everywhere in the gut. They're continuing to damage that gut lining and cause inflammation and the production of mast cells, because they're excreting tons of waste. So we produce more mast cells. They're just worsening the inflammation constantly, and they're eating half our nutrients every day. So they're really preventing us from being able to make really significant progress restoring the nutritional deficiencies. And they continue to damage the gut, and preventing us from more fully improving our assimilation. So, it's key. We want to resolve these pathogens dramatically, at least. And also, they block our detox pathways. So that's the liver, the kidneys, the gallbladder, the neck region, I learned, is a main detox channel. And guess what? All the toxins in our brain, our head and brain, have to channel down through the neck, the adenoids, tonsils, vagus nerve, the whole lymph system there, the main detox channel of the body. And if that's all clogged with microbes and all the waste they produce, then we get a blocked pathway here, and neurotoxins cannot drain. They can't drain through the neck efficiently. And so then they just kind of mobilize and move around in the head. And boy, can that exacerbate symptoms. It can really be severely dangerous. And this happened to me many times, trying to chelate and remove the metals. And my doctors and practitioners I saw didn't have this understanding. Of course, I didn't know anything at that time. And I was taking chelators and things to remove the metals without doing any of these achievements, without accomplishing any of these achievements. So I went through torture. I went through absolute torture. And I'm not just a rare case. There are so many people going through the same thing. Unless you're in this field and researching it and checking it out, you're not going to hear about these things. It's much more prevalent than what most people think. Yes, so we need to open our detox pathways before we even want to think about removing the metals, and that includes the neck, liver, kidneys, gallbladder, the whole lymph system. We want to have these detoxification pathways opened and able to channel the metals that we're going to be removing next in the next step, which is the last step, step 9, or the 9th goal is removing the metals. Then we focus on removing the metals, but we need these detox pathways open so they can channel through and out of the body efficiently. Otherwise, they're going to get kind of backed up somewhere, recirculate, and that's going to repoison us of these mobilized metals. And guess what that does? That exacerbates symptoms. It causes more cellular damage, and that worsens our symptoms. And I went through just sheer torture, severe. I was so severely suicidal every waking moment. The anxiety I had was just debilitating. I could not sleep for so long. It was horrific. The severe insomnia that I endured is just, I don't know how I went through it without ending it. I just don't know. The severe depression, the just sitting there crying compulsively for hours at a time, being completely debilitated with such severe exhaustion, looping thoughts, fears, phobias start developing out of the clear blue sky. That's so bizarre that, I never had before. I said this in one video, so I don't want to, be too redundant in the videos. But if you didn't see that one, I want to mention that, Mercury is called it the Mad Hatter's disease for a reason. It literally makes people go mad. Mercury causes mental and neurological symptoms like lead, arsenic, aluminum, gadolinium, and other toxic heavy metals. Not that they're good, they're not, they're horrible, but they don't cause the mental and neurological symptoms that mercury does. It literally makes people go mad. It makes people go crazy. And I really honestly don't know of any other condition out there that causes symptoms like this. That's just terrifying, horrifying, irrational fear, panic attacks. You can start even seeing horrific images flashing in your head of horrific scenes. And it's just terrible. Yeah, we want to avoid that at all costs. And if we try to start mobilizing a bunch of metals and mercury out of the brain and it can't channel through the neck well, or the other, detox pathways, and we start recirculating it, a lot of it, and we're repoisoning ourselves, it can be very dangerous. And that causes more cellular damage and the exacerbation of symptoms. And when that happens and you try to explain that to your doctor, or you took what they recommended, or you did this or that, and you're going through, it just made you worse. A lot of them just don't understand, and they think you're over exaggerating or being a drama queen, or you're like a hypochondriac, and they'll drop you as a patient like that, not a care in the world. And they'll look at you like you're some Fruit Loop. They'll look at you with disdain. They'll degrade you. It's just many of them. I'm not saying all doctors and practitioners are bad. I'm a practitioner myself. I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm a practitioner myself. But it's a medical doctor that saved my life and helped me. But there's just so many that don't have this understanding because it's not taught in medical schools. It's not taught in any school in America, I can tell you that. So it's just hard to get this information. So anyway, I know I can get off on a tangent a little bit, but I know those of you who are moderately to severely mercury toxic, you will absolutely understand why and agree with me. So yeah, so that's the last step, the last ninth achievement or ninth goal that we need to accomplish to achieve a full recovery is then we remove the heavy metals. And believe it or not, that's the easier part. That's the easiest part because we've really properly prepared our body and now everything's functioning so much more optimally. You can handle the detoxification process and it can handle it well without going through horrible symptoms and exacerbation of symptoms. So yes, these 9 achievements are key. And I'll just quickly read them off for those that maybe didn't see the first or second video here. But the first achievement is to resolve the condition of the gut, including the mast cell activation syndrome and inflammation and sensitivities that we develop from having a damaged gut lining. Second achievement is redevelop a strong immune system with good bacteria. Third achievement or goal is to replenish the cellular hydration. Very important. Fourth achievement, rebalance thyroid hormone levels, a very common issue that occurs when we're mercury toxic. Not always, but very often. The fifth achievement is restore nutritional deficiencies. The sixth one is rebuilding the organs and glands. Seventh achievement is repair cellular damage. The eighth achievement or goal is to rid of the pathogens. And ninth achievement is the removal of the heavy metals. So I'm happy to share this initial information with you because just understanding these 9 achievements or 9 goals and knowing that that's what you need to accomplish to properly prepare your body for the safe, effective removal of the metals. It could save you years of tons of wasted money and time and unnecessary pain and suffering. So anyway, I wanted to make this one of the first few videos I share. So I will get into answering a few people's questions within my next couple of videos. So I invite you, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below the video and I will get to them very shortly and answer them for you in a video coming up. I'll be doing a couple videos every week. And I can't wait to get more and more information out there for you, as well as the how-to. How do I accomplish that? How do I resolve the condition of the gut? How do I rebuild the immune system? How do I replenish the cellular hydration? So the how-to. So I'm anxious to get into all of that with you as well. All right. Thanks again for listening, and I'll speak with you next time.